Hi, this feels so awkward. I've been deciding whether I want to do this for a long time now, and I feel like I don't know why it's the right time, but that's what I've sort of decided. I've created a new YouTube channel and account because I just want to get like some real feelings about like out there and raise awareness for fibromyalgia, because I feel like there's just not enough of it out there. The reason I look like this and the reason I haven't made myself up or bothered to put makeup on or anything like that for this video is because I wanted it to be as raw as possible, and you know, I don't want it to be fake and for everything to seem all happy as Larry and things like that, when that's not what really fibromyalgia is about. So I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia last September 2019, after fighting tooth and nail to try and get a diagnosis from everywhere and anywhere. I know that a lot of people are the same as well. There's still not enough awareness out there, especially within just GPs. Obviously rheumatologists, that's where you mainly get your diagnosis of fibromyalgia, but then it takes years to get to that point, because before that you have GPs constantly telling you that nothing's wrong or your tests are coming back normal, or they'll try and blame it on other conditions like your depression and things like that. And you know, it's just something that needs more awareness, and I just want to try and make that happen, and I think this is the only way that I could figure out how to raise awareness. So first I'm going to be sharing this video with the other people in the fibromyalgia groups that I am a part of on Facebook, because there's such great communities. We all help each other. We all, when one of us is panicking about some of the symptoms we're having, we all reassure each other that it's not just them and they're not alone in feeling that. And I think that's such an amazing thing, because it's really helped me. Like, I'm only 21 years old and I never once in my life imagined that I'd be diagnosed with a chronic illness. I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety when I was 15 years old, so for me it's just been a constant battle of things. Suppose I better just say some of my journey really. So when I was 18, so would have been around 2017, I started getting symptoms, started having abdominal pain all the time, just generally feeling like a lack of energy, which again the GPs just tried to blame on my depression, but I knew from the off that it just felt different. Just not having any energy to do anything, not wanting to go out, not wanting to do anything that a normal 18-year-old would do. You know, I was going to college, I was working in a bar as well. But most of the time, there was a lot of times where I'd have to call in sick because my abdominal pains would get too much and I wouldn't be able to stand, like, and things like that. So yeah, and then these abdominal pains, like, I think you just sort of panic yourself straight away and you think that it could be appendicitis straight away if you've still got your appendix in. So that was my initial thought. When I then came the trips to A&E with the abdominal pain, because sometimes it would get so painful that I could barely breathe, and it wouldn't, like, it would just be a full panic for me. And so I think twice since the September of that year to the December, I'd been to A&E with abdominal pain. They'd left me, as any A&E is, I was sat there for about a good 2 hours, 3 hours before I got seen. Then by the time they took my blood work, everything was normal again. Like, I wasn't even in pain at that point because I was already sat there for 2 hours and it had subsided. So that's why I felt like partly they didn't believe me, or they just thought nothing was wrong with me. Then from the January of 2018, I got with my partner, and from that point I went to an A&E a further 4 times with the same pain, each time telling me there's nothing wrong with me, my blood work was coming back normal, there's nothing wrong with me at all, it could just be cramping. So at this point I was already fed up, because that was 6 times I went to A&E in the space of probably 6 months. And then after that came the pains in my legs, pains in my arms, just general aches and pains everywhere. So at that point, I think on my 6th A&E trip, they referred me to get an abdominal ultrasound, sorry. So I went to get an abdominal ultrasound, and that came back normal. There was nothing to show, nothing there, so they sent me away. Then the pains continued, so I kept pushing and pushing, and eventually got an abdominal CT, but again, that came back normal. Like, there was no answers that they could give me, because it was just all coming back normal tests, nothing to show, nothing serious, because obviously nothing was showing on the CT or anything like that. And then one day while I was in work, this is when I worked at a solicitor's at this point, I was walking around work and my legs just felt funny, like they just were so painful. It was so painful to walk. Like, there was no explanation. Just one day they just turned funny and just painful, and I was not wanting to walk anywhere, but I had to walk around the whole office because I was the office junior, constantly up and down the stairs all day. And then when I got home that night, I went for a nap, and when I normally go to sleep, I fidget so much. Like, I don't know if anyone else has this, but I fidget a lot in my sleep, like restless leg syndrome, to the point where the pillows are all muffled in the morning. But during that nap, I had not moved once. Like, my legs had not moved, they were not working. Like, so my partner and his mum took me to the hospital, where again I could barely walk to the car or from the car to the into the hospital, but I had to force myself to do that just so I could get there, because they wouldn't send an ambulance out or anything like that. And then when I was finally seen that night, they told me that they'd keep me overnight for observation to see if anything was better. I couldn't raise my legs past a certain point, so say that was my legs, I probably couldn't raise them past maybe there, because it was just too much of a struggle. It was like someone was putting weights down on me to do that. And an overnight stay turned into a week stay at the hospital. My legs still wouldn't lift. They were sending me for several tests, an MRI on my brain, spine and thighs. I think I had the nerve testing, so where they poke the like sort of acupuncture needles into you to see if your nerves would react to that, and an ECG and EKG, just several tests during that whole week period, and just while retraining myself to walk, like each day I'd try and take a couple of steps to see if it would be any better, and eventually at the end of that week I was retrained to walk, and I think that was probably one of the scariest moments of my life, because it was just so unexplained. I'm sorry that I'm saying and like in pretty much every sentence as well, by the way. I just want this to be as real and as raw as possible. I want to show the real effects of fibromyalgia, because I feel like it's just not shown enough. People talk about it. As I say, we've got our lovely Facebook communities, but I think it would really help them hearing a story and just sharing the experience. Really, I'm in my pajamas because right now it's my day off work for once. I'm meant to be in uni, but the uni campus is 45-minute walk from my house, so I don't have the strength to do that at the moment. I've been ill this past week with a cough. I'm sure a lot of people probably get like this, but I've had a running cough for about 5 years now, where it just whatever, I always have a cough. I'm always coughing up stuff, but when it gets this time of the year, it gets extra rough, and because it's extra rough, I cough up blood and things like that. So I can't. I just feel even weaker at this point, at this time of year, really. But I still keep in the Christmas spirit. I have my pajamas on because this is the realest thing. Like, a lot of fibromyalgia people don't have the strength, don't have the energy to go to work, to go to uni. I don't have the energy to go to uni at the moment. I'm practically working full time because I need the money, because there's not support out there. I'll probably get denied for PIP if I even tried. There's just not enough support out there for people who don't have the energy to work but have to force themselves to work. And then cause uni has been moved online this year, which has actually helped a bit because I can actually go online. I'm meant to be in my online lectures right now, but I'm so far behind that I'm just waiting to catch up to actually attend the live lectures. So my life's just a bit of a mess at the moment. I just wanted to do this because I feel like it's not spoke about enough in person, and I feel like this is more personalised. Fibromyalgia, the doctors still don't understand. So, like, if you ring up a GP, for example, yesterday I rang up a GP and said, I just have no energy. Like, I want to feel like a semi-normal 21-year-old girl. I want to have energy, have enough energy, because at the moment, most days, I do not have energy to even cook myself tea. So I don't even have enough energy. So my partner has to do it most days, but he works full time. And it's just like, it's bearing a burden that they have to do things for you. And I'm sure, like, people may agree, if you've got partners and they have to do the cooking and things like that, like, it's just bearing that burden. And at 21 years old, I don't want to feel like that, because at the end of the day, I should have enough energy to cook for myself, but I don't, because by the time I get home from work, or I've done with uni for the day, or just anything that I have to do, I have no energy. So in order to have energy enough to cook tea, I have to be in bed all day. Like, and I don't think that's, like, right. So I feel like there should be more support for that. But yesterday when my GP called me, and I told them, is there anything else that can happen? But because my blood work came back normal on my vitamin levels and my B12s, there's nothing they can do, and they just put it down to, well, it's a common symptom of fibromyalgia, so you're just sort of going to have to deal with it, and you're going to have to try and fit exercise into your schedule, which is all well and good, but obviously with working practically full time and going to uni, and, well, when I can, and not having the energy, I don't have the energy to work fitness into my schedule. And I know I probably should, because, you know, I'd like to lose weight and things like that, but I don't think it would be nice if the GPs would understand where we're coming from when we say we have no energy, or just other people still don't understand the extent of when a person with fibromyalgia says, I have no energy. When we have no energy, I feel like it's very debilitating, because we can't do anything, and then comes the burden, and comes the everything else. We don't have the energy to even fight it anymore, I suppose. We don't even have the energy to stick up for ourselves when people are saying, oh, it's just nothing, or things like that. And a lot of people, there's a lot of sting around fibromyalgia, and a lot of people will say, oh, it's nothing, it's not even that bad, it's very common and stuff. But it's like, but it is that bad. Just because it's common doesn't mean it's not bad for us. Like, the constant pains, the constant aches, the constant lack of energy, constant tiredness, chronic fatigue syndrome, just everything together is so debilitating as a chronic illness. And the fact that we've got to live with this for the rest of our lives, and when we have flare-ups it's even worse. And the fact that we have to live with this for the rest of our lives and know that we can't really do anything about it apart from constantly take pills. But again, the doctors will not give me anything to take to subside my symptoms because I'm too young. And I saw a post actually in one of the Facebook communities the other day where a doctor told someone that her daughter was too young to have fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia does not know age limits. It does not know a person's age. It just knows the body, and if the body cannot handle certain things and fibromyalgia wants to overtake that body, it will not know age. You know, it's not an age defining thing. So I just wish, my hope is that we don't have to constantly be pushed around the barriers for years on end before we get to see a rheumatologist to get a diagnosis. My hope is that more GPs get educated on fibromyalgia and know more ways to deal with it, rather than just saying, oh well, it's a common symptom, so do this. Like, I'd rather them just have the support of like, I completely understand where you're coming from. Let's see if this works, or I'll refer you to CBT therapy, or just anything like that. Because why should it take for a rheumatologist to tell them to do that before they do it? And I feel like most people with fibromyalgia takes at least, like mine took 2 years to get a diagnosis, and I feel like that's probably at the moment the minimum it takes to get a diagnosis of fibromyalgia. And it shouldn't be like that, and you should never be told that you're too young for fibromyalgia, because obviously my symptoms started displaying when I was 18, and someone at the age of 17 got told they were too young. So it's not because of that at all. So I feel like my main aim of this video is to show the real effects, talk about the real effects, make people know that they're not alone in this situation. We're all a community, we're all together, and if we stick together and advocate for fibromyalgia and fight the fight, even though we have no energy left in us. But I feel like this is an easier way to fight the fight than to constantly try and battle with our GPs. Then hopefully change will soon be made among GPs and just regular doctors, rather than the rheumatologists just having to do it all. Because waiting 2 years full of symptoms and being told nothing's wrong with you is just a joke. And I know some people have waited 6 years, or some people had symptoms for 10 years. It's not right that you get told constantly, and like being made out in your own head that like you're crazy because they're constantly telling you nothing's wrong with you, when you know deep down in your heart. And I've always told, ever since I've got a fibromyalgia diagnosis, can't even say it then, I have told anyone who's had symptoms of anything that like they know is not right, and they know in their own skin is not nothing. I've always told the people around me that you know your own body better than anyone else. So if you think something is really not right, you just keep fighting with the doctors until they actually do something about it, because a lot of them will not if you just leave it and let it slide, and then you're just going to be stuck suffering. So my message to all of you is keep fighting. There's a reason why they call us fibromyalgia warriors. And yeah, you know your body better than anyone else. So if anyone out there is thinking they have fibromyalgia but they're struggling with the doctors to get a diagnosis, then you know your body better than anyone else. Keep fighting until they eventually refer you to a rheumatologist to get that diagnosis. And yeah, thanks for watching my first video if you do.